Good morning, everybody. My name is Venki. I am the CTO for a company called Persistent Systems. So what we essentially do is in a nutshell, we are a technology and product engineering services company. I'll take a moment to quickly introduce Persistent Systems to you all. I'm aware of the time, so I'll just not take too much of time. I will keep it short. Maybe take about 7 minutes or so. Is that fine with that?
Fine.
Okay. So first of all, thanks Uday for giving me the opportunity to talk today. And let me introduce Persistent Systems and then talk a little bit about what we are observing in the whole trends in the mobile ecosystem, and talk about some of the challenges that they are facing and how we are trying to address them. And would be more than happy to take any questions and also interact with you throughout the course of the day today. We have been in this business of product engineering and technology services for the last 22 years. That's our niche focus. We have about 300 odd customers. More than 70% of those customers are startups or early stage companies for whom we help take their product from a concept stage to the market. So completely work on the product development life cycle, building the prototype, the proof of concept, work on the architecture, the development, the implementation of the product, testing the product across a variety of scenarios, and then finally, when the product is ready for the market, take it to the market, help in the deployment, maintenance support, and then work on the next version of the product, and so on. So that's what we do for a living with most of our customers. We are a publicly listed company. We did about 207 million last year. And we intend to, of course, keep growing. We've been growing about 25% on a year-on-year basis for the last 5 years, and the market is ripe enough that we hope that in the foreseeable future will continue to grow. What we offer as a service to our customers is primarily technology services, as in the areas, especially in the areas of the new emerging areas like cloud, big data analytics, mobility, embedded systems, security, and so on. We do entire product lifecycle services, starting from concept to design to deployment and maintenance and support and so on, across all industries, specifically around, say, telecommunications, life sciences, BFSIs, consumer products, and so on. We do product engineering services, but in addition to that, what really distinguishes us, or the value that we bring to our customers, is the white space analysis that we do around the product, and that we have solution accelerators that help to integrate that product with rest of the ecosystem. We do a lot of go-to-market know-how for many of the early stage companies, and that's what they leverage us for. Because in any product development, as most of you know, only about 20% of the work is actually the creative idea that comes in. Rest of the 80% is grunt work, so to speak. And that's where we specialize in and help bring in our best practices and our experience over the last 20 years to the forefront. So let me talk a little bit about the industry trends. If you see how the industry is, just giving a historical perspective, in the early 80s, it was all a very hardware-centric industry, originating around the mainframes, and then the software was kind of incidental on top of these mainframes, and they kind of moved slowly to the PC and the desktop, and that's where the whole industry started growing, where we had the proliferation of PCs, and once the PC desktop industry started growing, and the key enabler to that was the opening up of the architecture, the PCI, what IBM and others kind of opened up. Once the PC industry started proliferating, the software on those PCs became the driving factor, and a lot of work was done around building software for specific PCs, for the IBM architecture and non-IBM architecture and so on. And all this changed in the mid-90s when the web kind of grew up, started becoming popular, and that's when people started developing applications for the web. And now what we are seeing is that a lot of the focus is shifting from the technology becomes like a given. And we are seeing a lot of focus around content, user experience, as somebody really today kind of talked about. Ultimately, what people are looking for is how do you make the experience of using the infrastructure, the PCs, the tablets, the mobile phones, how do you make it really user-friendly and make it kind of user-centric so that the experience is very rich for the users. And technologies like cloud and others are really enabling these kind of user-friendly infrastructure, user-friendly way of developing applications becoming more and more popular. So we are in this world of what we call as consumerware, which is consumer-centric software, hardware, whatever you want to call that. Prior to this consumerware, there was a very clear distinction between a software and content, and we see that kind of getting that distinction getting blurred to a very large extent. Technologies such as HTML5 are really making that the blurring very, very prevalent. We do see a lot of integrated content and software getting together. I guess most of you in the audience today can kind of relate to that trend. And we do see a lot of premium being pushed onto good content development and making sure that the content can be consumed across a variety of devices, be it your PC, be it the TV or your tablets or your mobile phones and so on. And of course, the focus is on the user experience, and that's where a whole lot of design is focused on making it extremely user-friendly. So we do see a lot of kind of consolidation across the three screens: the PC screen, the mobile phone screen, and the TV screen, kind of getting together. A lot of content is no longer just viewed on one or the devices; it's being viewed across multiple devices. Frank did talk about, showed a person kind of browsing the internet while watching TV, and that's kind of becoming very commonplace now. TV is no longer a device that one watches in isolation. There's always a second device that is waiting to grab our attention, and that second device could be your mobile phone or your tablet, wherein people are watching the content and using that to figure out, maybe who's the actor on the movie that you're watching, figuring out additional details about the content that you're watching, interacting with your friends and buddies to share, to have a common shared experience of watching that content, and so on. So there's a lot of complementarity that is coming in as we see. And many of these devices are also kind of becoming integrated with the TV. So your remote is no longer just a remote. You have your phone can act as a remote. You can push content from your phone to the TV and so on. I'm sure many of you have seen the advertisement of Samsung coming in, where they say, you can push the content from your phone at a swipe of a finger, that content gets transferred to the TV and so on. So there's a lot of new technology coming in that enables this to happen. So there's a lot of people here who are talking about mobile TV. So yes, definitely there is a shift. People were used to watching small clips on a small screen, and as the screen size increases, we're seeing that people are kind of moving to watching larger clips or larger movies and maybe soap operas, episodes of soap operas, which are beyond a 15-20 minute clip to something much more longer. And the size of the screen is obviously one of the factors that is enabling this to happen. We see a lot of, with the advent, especially in India now, with the 4G networks coming in, Airtel has already started introducing it, and we expect in the next year several more operators kind of offering the LTE, the fourth generation of mobile networks, and one of the key driving factors for that is going to be video content. Otherwise, what is really differentiating between a 2.5G, 3G to a 4G? I mean, there's no major differentiation other than content. And we do see a lot of consumption of television content on your mobile devices. Players like Apalya, who are the technology enablers for many of the operators in India today, have kind of quoted that people do watch about 17 to 20 minutes today per day of TV content on the mobile phones. And that's a significant increase from what it used to be beforehand. And what's happening is that obviously, this is not just about mobile being the enabler. There is also a whole lot of changes happening on the website as well. we see, what people watching content on the web, now it's moving from streaming media to more of streaming of data. Technologies like HTML5 with their WebSockets and others are creating a bidirectional stream of content, wherein the push technology, which was kind of prevalent only for the mobile phones, is now moving to the browser as well, wherein the server can push alerts or events or whatever to your browser because of the bidirectional WebSockets that's already been established. Google has come up with the WebRTC standards, wherein you don't need a separate media player to view content. Video content can be embedded onto a web browser, onto a web server, just like images are. And most web browsers going forward, which support the WebRTC, can play this content within the browser itself. So a lot of new things that are happening that kind of set the ground for video as a consumption, and that's something that is really catching on quite a bit. In the US especially, the market for TiVo and other digital video recorders has taken a phenomenal increase, and we do see that same trend happening in the rest of the world as well. Of course, there is the question of, where is the bandwidth or the spectrum going to come from, especially when you're talking about wireless in India. We do have the challenge, but that's something we hope that over the period of next year or 3 years, we see that getting resolved as well. Uday did talk about over-the-top providers. They have to use, ultimately we talk about over-the-top providers, but ultimately they have to use the operator to reach their subscribers. And when there is an operator involved, they have to worry about the standards, they have to worry about, how the operators are going to optimize their content, the bandwidth for providing a very rich user experience. So there is going to be, some time before that, flux gets resolved. And we need to find out where the real value creation is happening. Is it happening at the over-the-top providers, or are the operators kind of going to become over-the-top providers themselves? So that's something that's a shift that we are seeing, and we need to watch how that's going to happen. Technologies like cloud and social media and others are getting integrated into the whole mobile ecosystem, and cloud has been a big driver for the mobile consumption, primarily because enterprises where the data was typically kind of secluded in the enterprise data centers have now slowly started moving to the cloud, and that enables this data to be accessed through a mobile device. So we see a lot of unification of services across cloud, social media, and other technologies kind of integrating very nicely with the mobile technology. And that's where people who are used to, the consumers who are used to a way of interacting with these technologies are now bringing in the same kind of interactions into the enterprise. And that's raising questions around the security and other aspects. So where does persistent systems play in this? We, of course, play across the whole set of challenges that we talked about. We do offer mobile strategy consulting, where we help our customers move their products to the mobile, to mobile enable their products, their applications. We do help in the go-to-market for early stage companies. We help in building mobile multimedia solutions and also integrate with new platforms such as cloud and other social media platforms, as well as new mobile operating systems like iPhones, Androids, and now, of course, the Windows 8 and so on. The kind of services that we offer are centered around usability, rich user experience, because that's where we see, especially in the mobile ecosystem, where that could be a key differentiator. Bringing in the concepts of social, local, and the whole mobility concepts together is what a lot of our customers are asking us to build applications around, and that's where we see a lot of demand coming in. Performance engineering and security is a very, very critical requirement, especially when the data and content moves to the cloud. We want to make sure that the content can reach the end consumer very, very effectively in an optimized way that provides a very rich user experience without compromising on security or digital rights and so on. See a lot of work around bring your own device kind of technologies coming in. People buy their own devices. New devices keep coming up every quarter, and people buy these devices, bring it. They are very comfortable using that for their personal use, and then they bring it to the enterprise and want to have the same experience with the enterprise application. And this is a big headache for many CIOs. But we do see that security and other challenges that CIOs are seeing are being addressed. They are creating things like virtual workspaces, wherein you have a separate quote-unquote virtual machine that runs on your mobile device that would kind of access the enterprise-specific apps. And then when you're outside the enterprise, you kind of switch over to your consumer space and start using your Angry Birds or whatever else that you bought the device to use for. And that's something that we see a lot of challenges there, but are being addressed as well. So that's where, in a nutshell, what we do, and I would be more than happy to take any questions. And of course, during the course of the day, we can interact and see how we can help you take your products to the market, bring your products to the Indian market, or vice versa, and look forward to having a very fruitful day today. I also have my colleague here, Shivesh, who can probably help with some of the interactions as well. So with this, I take leave and throw the floor open for any questions.
Thank you, Venki.
Sure.